here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall two steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven, how do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. This is a show that I had developed with you in mind, the business person, the entrepreneur, the one that's looking for that next tip, that next strategy to get them to the next level. And that is why I came up with this very concept of this show. And I interview successful entrepreneurs from all over the world every single week. And the purpose of it is to extract the value and the ideas and the success strategies that these individuals have put in place to get them where they are now. And why do I do that? So that you don't have to go through this by trial and error. That's as simple as that. And so it's about what I call the three pillars of success. Mind is reflective of mindset. So what I learned, we're not live. Are we live? Yeah, we're live. Okay, I see what's going on. We're good. So what I've learned in this time, what I did was I studied only successful people for a period of, I don't know, it's been about 10-year time where I just concentrated on only successful people. What was it that made them possibly more successful than yours truly, or just successful in general? And as I began gathering the information, these are people that, some that I know personally, that I have worked with, others that are authors of books that perhaps I've met, others that are authors of books that are no longer even with us, that basically were gone before I was even born, but a lot of different people from different times and from different types of businesses, what made them successful. And Mind was one of them. That meant they each, to a person, had a very powerful and positive and, most importantly, flexible mindset. And Body was basically, each of these individuals took care of themselves physically and nutritionally through exercise and through nutrition. And business was multifaceted. It basically, to become successful in a business, one must master various skill sets. And there are a number of them. There's skill sets like sales, team building, marketing, leadership, systematizing. I could go on for quite some time. And being very astute as you are, you know that to become a master, to master anything, can take an exorbitant amount of time. The good news is you don't have to master every skill set, not even close to it. If you master just one of them, and it's one of those that I just mentioned a moment ago, you can leverage the others. And that one skill set, if you master it first, or at least in the beginning, is the skill set of leadership. Even if you do not have a team yet, master leading yourself, develop that culture that you will then take with you into the team when you do bring in that help. And I highly recommend you bring in the help as soon as you possibly can, because it will change things instantly and for the better, for sure. And so that is why I came up with a Mind Body Business Show. And in addition to all these great traits of highly successful people like Dr. Holly Donahue, Dr. Holly Donahue, who is coming on in just a minute, they also, to a person, those that I've studied were very avid readers of books. Yes, and with that, I would like to segue very briefly into a quick segment I affectionately call Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by ReachYourPeakLibrary.com.
Yes, there you see, ReachYourPeakLibrary.com. Real quick word for everyone watching and listening. As we go through this show, you are going to be getting a lot of fantastic and phenomenal and valuable resources, mostly from Dr. Donahue, not mostly from me, but from her. And the cool thing is you're going to be able to take action on these and get value from them. But what I want you to do is, instead of, you're going to have you're going to want to actually go click away and look at these things while the show's going. Instead of doing that, I implore upon you to write it down. Write down the URL, like reachyourpeaklibrary.com. then visit it after the show. Because here's what I found from speaking from stage, literal physical stage. I would be up speaking, and I know I'm coming to the really juicy part, the part that's really going to help them to propel themselves either in business or personally. And someone would get up and leave the room at that moment. I'm thinking, what's going on? They're going to miss out. And I would hate for that. They either got that all important phone call or text message, or they have to go to the restroom. That's happened many times. So I learned to let them know ahead of time. Instead, pay attention, stay focused. The magic happens in the room. If you have to go to the restroom right now, go take care of that lickety split, because Dr. Donahue is coming on. You do not want to miss her. So take care of your business now, but take notes and then take action. All right, my soapbox moment is now officially over. We are going to look at reachyourpeaklibrary.com, and that is a site I literally had my team put together for you. It sounds a little cheesy, but it's true. And what is it? It's simply a compilation of books that I personally have read and I personally vet, because I myself was not an avid or voracious reader until the ripe old age of 47. That's about 11 years ago. I know, you all just did the math. It's okay. And the beautiful thing is, I found that this does change lives when you start reading the right books, not just any book, but the right books. And what I've done is I've compiled a list of only those books that had a profound impact on either my business life or my personal life, or even both. And they didn't make it to this list unless they met those criteria. They're in here no rhyme or reason to the way they are here. They're not alphabetized. They're not by author, pretty much. They're just kind of thrown in as I read them. And I'm way behind. There's a lot more should be included, but all you need to do is go find that one book that really speaks to you, jumps off the page. Don't scroll any farther. Once you find it, either click the buy here button. It goes to Amazon, or go to wherever you want to buy your books. This is not here to make money. This is here as a resource for you, because of the fact that I found it to be so valuable so late in my life. And I'm just so happy and ecstatic that I am now a voracious reader and really changing my life by doing so. And I highly recommend you do the same if you haven't already. And if you are already, there might be a book or two in here that you might want to pick up as well. All right. Speaking of incredible, successful people and doing things that will catapult your business to the next level, well, that's why we have our next guest coming on. I did it again. Gosh, Dr. Holly Donahue is coming on. Let's bring her on so I can stop talking and messing up her name. Here we go.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there she is, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is the one. It is the only Dr. Donahue, Holly Donahue. Gosh, I did it again. What is up with the D's with me? Dr. Holly Donahue. So from now on, it's Dr. Donahue. That's it.
Oh,
how are you doing?
I am awesome. I love that. Dolly.
Wow.
Dolly Holly. That's awesome.
At least we can have some fun with it. I appreciate the fact that you're so easygoing and fun to talk to. And shout out to Daniel Aaron, a good friend of both of ours, who basically recommended you to come on this show. Thank you for that, Daniel. You bring on the best people, I tell you. He's an amazing guy. Absolutely. And a good friend. So we're going to have some fun. Before we jump in headlong, I'm going to do a little what I call housekeeping. I should call it bookkeeping, because we're going to do a few things to keep the show running. And then we'll come right back and dive deep with Dr. Holly Donahue. Got it. Finally.
Got it.
All right. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Right here.
Hey, if you're watching the Mind Body Business Show live right now, then you will have the ability to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort of your choosing, compliments of the Big Insider Secrets. What is it? It is a 5-night vacation stay to one of many destinations across the world. You can see as we go through this very quickly, there's some in Branson and Daytona Beach. These are in the United States, all over the United States, New Orleans, San Diego. There's also Mexico. There's also the UK. I mean, it just keeps going on and on and on. Australia. At the end of this show, you will be given the ability to enter to win. You must be watching this live. If you're not watching live, then head on over to themindbodybusinessshow.com and register to receive automated notifications when we go live the next time. And you can also participate in this incredible prize. So come on live, and you do not want to miss a moment because of our incredible guest experts. And if you're struggling with putting a live show together and it's overwhelming and you want a lot of the processes done for you while still enabling you to put on a high quality show and connect with great people and grow your business all at the same time, then write this down: carpetbombmarketing.com. Then head on over to it after the conclusion of tonight's show. Carpet Bomb Marketing. Saturate the marketplace with your message. And to get a free lifetime membership to a phenomenal resource called the Reach Your Peak Club, your free membership will include instant access to deep discounts on major software, services, and top shelf training courses that you need to run your successful business. Think of it as your entrepreneur discount house. Catapult your business to the next level. Sign up for free now and get a hotel discount card worth $200 just for joining. Then go and grab your deep discounts. So write this down, and then after the show, once again, head on over to reachyourpeakclub.com. All right, now let's get back to the show. Yes, good God, let's get back to the show already. Jeez Louise, that guy talked forever. All right, Dr. Holly Donahue, her goal is to help patients find joy in good health so they can perform at their best and thrive. As a licensed naturopathic doctor, she brings a wealth of experience and knowledge to her patients, helping each one of them to develop tools and strategies to create healthier, more balanced lives. We all need that. As a naturopathic doctor, her approach to medicine places emphasis on prevention and personalized care. Working with her will always be collaborative and give you the opportunity to give your body exactly what it needs so you can perform at your best and live a healthier, happier life. And you're going to find that word collaborative, you're going to find definitely, you're going to learn that by just talking to her, listening to her here tonight. And I hope you do talk to her. We want to see comments and suggestions and questions. Dr. Holly Donahue, welcome to the show. Officially, formally, we're on our way.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. And every time somebody reads my bio that we wrote back in the day, it's true. Like, when we create health, it's joyful. Like, it doesn't have to be a struggle. And when I say collaboration, it gets to be collaborative because the truth is none of us were built the same. And so mainstream medicine, love it when I need in an emergency situation. It's not their fault. I believe there's abundance around all of us. There's reasons why we're doing what we're doing. However, like really getting to the root cause is so important. And so I just want to state that fact that it can be joyful when you heal and you take care of yourself and you have value for yourself. So I'm just so grateful to be here because leaders and high performers and entrepreneurs, like we're all doing the thing, but don't forget about your health.
It's like the core to your success, whether that be, again, business or personal or both. And I've learned that on both sides of the spectrum, where I've been whisked away to the hospital on an emergency call. This was not long ago, less than 2 years ago, thinking this could be it. Literally thought, you always think that, right? You got a cold. Oh, this could be the one. I'm going. Yeah. But you never know. But the thing is, without your health, you can't control it. Once that time hits and your health has gone down, there's not much you can do to really resurrect it quickly anyway, maybe over time. But I so resonate with what you do, Dr. Donahue, because it's like an insurance policy that's good for you, that doesn't cost a lot of money. It's something that you just need to do. How much, how many of us take better care of our cars than we do our own health? Mm-hmm. Right? We change our oil, it's going to cost me money if I don't do it now, but why? What about you? What about your body? What about operating at a peak level of performance for your job, for your business, for your family, for your loved ones? I mean, I could go on and on, but I'll stop there because this show's about you, not about me.
Yeah. And it's so I love that comment because I find that that's so true. Like, we will hire personal trainers to build muscle. We'll hire coaches to build our business. We'll hire teams to strengthen around us so that we can grow and be in our vision and be who we're meant to be. But yet, like, we'll kind of take care of our health. We'll kind of just, and that's not everyone for sure. But if we just use that as the foundation and the grounding to where we're going, and we eat balanced food, nutrients dense foods, which I can talk about wherever this journey actually goes. But it's like, if you don't have like really quality nutrient dense food and movement, positive relationships, and know where your levels are. Like Brian just said, oh my gosh, I broke, like, and my heart dropped when you said, oh, I was just rushed to the emergency room, or I was just rushed away. Like, I'm in a downtown location, and it's like, when I hear ambulances, I say to myself, my goal is to keep everybody in my clinic that's here healing out of that machine.
Yeah.
And one of the things that resonates with me when you talked about the car piece and the detailing and the shininess, especially as that male like energy, and women will clean their house more than they clean their insides of their body. Like, we can, do gender specific here. But, at the end of the day, like, what is in the grocery store? I really don't know. Like, I really don't know. And I could probably speak for hours, but like, I really encourage all of you to know what your values are, know what your labs are, and work with a functional medicine practitioner. Keep your primary care. There's important time and place for that, but it's so important to know where you're at in your healthcare, because it's almost like Brian probably has a goal. How many shows does he want to hit a month? Like, how much marketing does he want to grow? Like, we all have these amazing business goals, and I do too. I just have patient goals as well with my patients. Mine are a little bit different. Like, get them out of the hospital, rid themselves of cancer, get sugar out of their body. But if you don't set a goal in your health, just like you do your business, how are you going to hit that goal?
Man, you said so many things there, and especially on the health front that hit home. Getting sugar out of the body, it's like the number one death sentence powder that you could ever ingest. And oh my gosh, I haven't had sugar, like added sugar or known that there's sugar in something, for a very long time. And there was one time I had something. What was it? It was like a tea, a sweetened tea, because they didn't have water. That's all they had. It was a fountain type drink. And the first sip, I just about gagged. I'm like, my God, there's got to be 5 teaspoons of maybe tablespoons of sugar in this thing. It's like, and people drink this regularly every day. I used to as well many years ago, but Coca-Cola and all that crap that just is the worst for you. But sugar is horrible. It's such a cancer loves sugar. Oh my God. And so I appreciate that. And yeah, I think you have something coming up that you're going to announce here toward the end of the show. And yeah, definitely all behind that, because it's about what we put into our bodies. And so many people don't think twice about it because we were taught not to. I mean, it was a lot of the media, and not to point fingers at anything. We have 100% control of our own lives, but it's people like you, Dr. Donahue, that help bring it to the awareness of those that maybe they aren't thinking that through, and they're just on autopilot, and kind of be a wake-up call and say, you know what, I need to right the ship. And yes, we'll give you ways to reach out to Dr. Donahue here toward the end of the show as well. So don't go anywhere, because she can literally save your life. And I mean that, like, save your life from dying, and also save your life from being a crappy, like less than high performance life as well. But it hits both sides. But yeah, so I highly resonate with everything you're saying, Dr. Donahue. So God bless you for what you're doing. How did you get to this? I mean, you weren't always into this field, were you? You did other things prior to this. What's your journey story like?
Yeah, I have an amazing story that you'll all love, and I always like shorten it up a bit, but it's near and dear to my heart. When I was 18 years old, I was in severe depression, had horrible menses. It was a time for me to actually live your life when you're a teenager, right? But instead, I was struggling. I would use all my energy that I could to get through the week. And then on weekends, I would crash. And I would just want to, I just couldn't function anymore. My body just couldn't keep up. And I kept saying, there's got to be something. There's got to be something. And I just kept searching, just like we all do. But many of you don't search until you're sick enough. Unfortunately, God had a plan for me. And that's why I got into what I'm doing. So what happened was I would keep searching. And so eventually I found a naturopathic doctor in my 20s that I went to see. And you have to understand, my mom was a mental health therapist. So with that being said, we would go see several different doctors. First it was this diagnosis, then it was that diagnosis. And I just kept saying, there's got to be a reason. I didn't know this back then, but I'm going to find the root cause of my problem. Back then I was like, I just want to feel better. I'm a teenager and I should be having fun. So my mom said, well, you're depressed. Let's get you on an antidepressant. Let's take you to the psychiatrist that I'd send my patients to. I went to the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist was like, here's Zoloft. I don't even remember. Zoloft, one of those, right? And I said, thank you for this. And she said, you need to go fill this. You need to take one a day, blah, blah, blah. And I just looked at her. I said, okay. And she goes, you're not going to do it, are you? And I said, no, because this pill that you just gave me, for some reason I knew was not going to heal what was going on. So then I went to the gynecologist. I was taking Tylenol with codeine because I was so bent over during my menstrual cycle that I would like sweat, I would perspire, I couldn't function. So what did they want to do? They wanted to put me on the pill, another pill, just a different one. And I said, no, that's not happening because that's not going to fix my problem. So at that point in time, long story short, I finally found a team of naturopathic doctors. Dr. James Donahue, God rest his soul, he changed my life forever. And being in his program, it's not about weight loss, but I'm just going to share something so that you all hear it. I lost 60 pounds in 2.5 months. However, I was eating like this much steak, this much food. I was eating, but the truth of the matter was I was eating food that my body needed. It was nutrient dense, quality food. And it was like all of a sudden this dark cloud lifted off of me. I was a new person. At that point in time, that was when I was 25. I was working in the apparel industry and I was manufacturing clothing because I always wanted to be in design and marketing and manufacturing. So he said to me, he leaned into me one day at my appointment and he leaned in and he said, we need more naturopaths. And I'm like, you're super funny. I'm not going back to school. I'm not a student. I'm like 28 now. He's like, no, we need more naturopaths. So at 30 years old, I was like, okay. And I went through the whole scenario. And that's my brief story. But that is a story. That's why I'm really good at what I do, because I've been in the system where here's a pill for an ill.
Yeah. And I grew up and people don't know any different. It's like you said, as far as the medical field, they're there to help people. That's why they're doing it. They just aren't told that the stuff they're prescribing could actually be having, creating more harm than it is good, by just masking what's really wrong. And, like pain pills, something's wrong. So we want to reduce inflammation. Well, it's not Advil isn't going to cure you. It's just going to make you feel good for a little while longer. But what's the root cause? What's causing that inflammation? And it's usually nutrition and diet, and maybe a little lack of exercise to go with it, a little dash of that. And it doesn't take, is it difficult, Dr. Donahue, is it truly that difficult to right the ship for people that are out there that are suffering right now?
No. It's just people need to change their mindset. You know what I mean? People need to change their mindset. And my script is a treatment plan, which includes everything that you just mentioned. It's like nutrition, water, food, positive relationships, breath. How many people don't breathe? Like, you need oxygen for your cells, right? That's a whole nother sugar question, right? But it's like that breath is so important. So that's my script. I can prescribe. I have prescribing rights. But the only time I find myself needing to prescribe, and I'm not against prescription because there's a time and a place, but there's also a time and a place to come off of it as well, is more if somebody gets bit with a tick. And especially, please, this is a little hint. I wasn't going to talk about this, but if you get bit by a tick, please send it off. I prefer University of Massachusetts lab, but please send it off so you know if it had a tick-borne illness in it. But I will use doxycycline as the first source because Lyme disease is not a fun disease. But other than that, I mean, I think in the 19 years I've been doing this, I think I've prescribed maybe 4 or 5 times because I have so many great herbs. I have things that God put us on this earth that are growing.
That's, I mean, that's what everyone used back before big pharma or any pharma became came into existence, and they worked. There
Right.
just wasn't big money in it, so that got pushed down, 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 and now it's almost non-existent. Anyway, we can get off on a huge tangent with that whole topic, but the bottom line is we were not designed to ingest chemicals. We were designed to ingest naturally growing and occurring elements that God gave us, not that we can put in a petri dish or a, what do you call those things where you mix them up, a test tube, and mix them up and then hope and pray they don't get. I mean, look at all these pharmaceutical commercials where they go and they talk about all these things it's going to do for you for the first 15 seconds. And the last 15 is all the ways it can harm and possibly kill you. And then at the end, so talk to your doctor about it. Like, what?
Yeah.
What is, should that not be a red flag by itself, in and of itself? And shouldn't somebody like Dr. Donahue be your next call instead of what you see on the television? It's amazing to me. I'm 58. I had to do the math myself. And I get this from doctors all the time that haven't never seen me. Like if I'll go to a specialist or whatever, because now I'm doing preventative and maintenance and checking on things and nothing horrible is going on. And they, you fill out the form about all the prescriptions you're taking. And mine is 100% absolutely blank. I don't take anything. I take supplements like CBD oil is something my wife and I do every night because it's a long story there, but it's a phenomenal supplement that we're taking. And then just basic stuff, vitamin D because of that hit. Still do that just to make sure, but minimal, tiny. I do a Balance of Nature, which is nothing but fruits and vegetables in capsules. But they always look at this and they literally come back to me and said, this area is blank. I said, yeah. Are you sure? I said, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, that means it's normal that people have lots of prescriptions. And It kind of freaked me out. I'm like, that's horrible. Neither my wife nor I have a cabinet full of prescriptions. But you talked about the fact that if they get on a regimen that they could start weaning those off. Do you have a story or two where someone was taking some kind of medication that was really detrimental overall, but helping in the short term, that you helped them to wean off of, that changed them for the better?
Absolutely, 100%. And I just want to go back to your little story about medication. My mother, well, now my mom is 88. She'll be 89 in June. And when she was 85, we took her to the doctors and she was on only supplements. And she had breast cancer at an older age. And they told her if she didn't do radiation and chemo, she'd be dead. Well, she's still alive. That was 2007.
Love it.
Now, after the pandemic, unfortunately, she had some arrhythmias because of my dad. But anyway, that's a long story. But my point is, they questioned an 85-year-old back in the day. So same sort of thing. Yes, to answer your question. So one of the things that I would love to hit home here is cholesterol. First of all, if you're put on a medication, I want you all to know I don't take you off the medication that you're put on. What I do is I work on the foundations of health and I work all around what your treatment plan is. I make sure nothing interacts with, whether I use herbs or whatnot. And then what will begin to happen is, for example, your blood pressure would get so low that you need to be taken off, metoprolol, lisinopril, or whatever the medications are. You go back to your doctor, your blood pressure is getting lower. They're going to cut it in half. They're going to dose it down. And they're going to be like, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. Cholesterol is the same thing. I would love to debunk the myth about cholesterol. It's a sugar problem, not a fat problem.
Ooh.
It is a sugar problem. It's not a fat problem. Really briefly, insulin spikes when you eat a sugar. Insulin then takes the sugar to the muscle cell and it says, here, muscle, do you need sugar? And your muscle's like, no, I don't need sugar because you haven't worked out. I've got enough glucose stores in here. So then it pops over to the adipose, which is your fat cell. And it's like, hey, do you need some glucose over here? Yeah, sure. I'll take it in. So then you end up with fat cells in areas that you don't want it. And eventually when those storage gets full and you make more and more and more and you get larger and larger, and this is no judgment, but then what begins to happen is then the sugar starts to float in the blood. Hemoglobin picks it up. What's the function of hemoglobin? To carry oxygen. Guess what? It can only carry less oxygen now because it needs to get glucose out of the body. So I want you all to think about this all day long when people come in with high cholesterols and I get them to do the basics of naturopathic medicine. That's eat less sugar, move their body, have positive relationships, and eat nutrient-dense food, less sugar. Guess what? Their cholesterols come down and their hemoglobin A1C comes down and their sugar comes down. Often I'm working on the adrenals and thyroid as well. It all kind of depends, but just know all the sugar that you're eating, that's all, it's going to drive your cholesterol up. And then you're going to get plaquing and it gets like really sticky. And that's what happens on the arterial walls. It gets sticky, your blood flow slows down. And eventually that's when we end up in like a risk for a heart attack.
Is it at all reversible once you've had that buildup in your arteries?
It is. Yep. And you can actually go in and have them removed as well. But, you want to bring the foaming down. I don't have an exact answer to be like, this happened to this patient, this imaging happened, and those plaques are gone. But I have read research and seen pieces of articles out there that actually talk about that. I just know that I've taken people at a high risk, like when we're looking at HSCRP, which is around the inflammation around the heart. We've been able to bring those levels down. Their joints no longer hurt. All day long. Even insomnia, like that's another piece. Like people come in, what does the doctor have for an option? Like Ambien or sleep medicine that becomes addictive.
Yeah.
So what do? We work on the nervous system. We work on breathing. We work on the adrenals. We work on your cortisol levels. So those are definitely areas where they can come right off their medication. Some of the other ones are a little bit harder cases, but they're there. But insomnia and sugar levels and wanting to lose weight, those are all very given numbers that people start to feel better. Gut challenges are another one. They may have done all the drugs around, the gut to heal the gut, and they haven't gotten better. Because the truth is most likely they're just taking bacteria drugs that are cleaning out the whole gut, and then the gut can't repopulate itself and reheal itself.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it makes it's so simple, and so many people. For me, it was never difficult to get the sugar out. I don't know why. It just wasn't a big deal. But for some, it can be a struggle. Do you have ways to help them to ease their habitual pain of getting away from their sugar fixes that they look forward to every day?
Yeah, I love this question. So the biggest piece is it's kind of like an alcoholic, like, alcoholism and drug addiction. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. And that's true. And the average American, when Brian was talking about this tea that he had that had sugar in it, I eat no sugar in my diet either. I chose that. I removed alcohol because of the sugar, the acetaldehyde. But what begins to happen is 32 teaspoons of sugar is an average American eating every day.
Ugh.
So is there like, I always joke, quick fix, right? It's changing your habits and changing and being around those individuals. Just like as entrepreneurs, we get in the rooms of people that are doing the things, right? That are growing their businesses and doing these kind of changes and, reaching more people, getting their vision out. It's the same thing with nutrition and food. You can't keep going out with your friends that are going to be eating nachos and drinking wine and all that when you're trying to get off sugar. So it's really changing your lifestyle. That's why I call it natural medicine for the whole WHOLE family, because it's whole nutrition in the whole family. And you're wanting to tweak what you're eating. So my first piece that I always give to patients is shop on the outer perimeter of the grocery store.
Oh, yes. I'm a former certified personal trainer. I said the exact same thing.
Yes.
All the junk is in the middle, and Bob is in agreement. So many drinks have so much sugar. Thank you, Bob. Hildberg on LinkedIn. You're so right. Even coffee drinks. My gosh, you go to Starbucks anymore, which I get coffee though. I don't get the frou-frou. I call them frou-frou drinks
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're just a bunch of sugar with ice, and they're colored and beautiful, and caramel macchiato and all this. Like, oh my God, it can't go anywhere without being just absolutely inundated with massive quantities of sugar. But the perimeter of the store, that's so perfect. That's where the produce is. That's where the meats are. Go organic, by the way. That's
Yeah.
where dairy is. I say avoid dairy.
Mhm.
Eggs, those, I think those are fine, but everyone has their own religion when it comes to nutrition as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
But yeah, I was in the paleo camp where, I thought, and still do, that meat is good and good for us. I think we were designed to eat it, but there's so many arguments. But you know what? It's better to do that than go down the center aisles. Where do they find there, Dr. Donahue, that
The
they wouldn't
only
find them?
thing I tell them to go down the center aisles for is raw olive oil, organic extra virgin raw olive oil. I hope that there's dried beans down there if people are of the black beans, the red kidney beans. Sometimes the rices, if you can't find it in a bulk section,
Yep.
like vinegars, maybe if you want mustards, there's even sugar in ketchup. Get unsweetened ketchup, there's sugar in everything, and just read the labels. So that's about all I say. And there are healthy crackers. And if you want an organic natural bread, but though they've moved I don't go to the grocery store much. People laugh at me, but I have to do this because I just like look in people's carts. And again, I'm not judging, but I'm like, I want you to be healthy. And you've got a little baby in there. And like, that's like, there's no food in there.
Yeah. Yeah. What habits are being transferred on to those that we love?
Right.
That's the thing that's kind of scary at times. This is great. I had no idea we were going to talk about nutrition because it's so powerful in either way. It can be a powerful thing in the negative direction, but we want it to be powerful in the positive. And
Mhm.
it literally doesn't take that much. I went to the paleo eating lifestyle, and I got to tell you, I think the food is delicious. And the cool thing is when you take out all the sugar and all the extra stuff, you actually taste the food again.
Yeah.
It's like it's all masked by all this sugar and extra junk. I mean, we spice it up. We put garlic, we put pepper, we put things, things that help with that, and basil and some olive oil. Yes, we love olive oil. And it's so good to taste the natural taste of the food underneath all that masking of junk that so many, the sauces that you buy pre-made, there's massive sugar in those, steak sauce and all the other ones. They're there to keep us, like you said, addicted. You didn't say they're trying to get us addicted, but they want you to come back for more. And did they know this? Probably not. They probably tasted it. Hey, this tastes good. Let's sell this.
Well, they do know, why there are labs around. Should probably be careful, but anyway, there are labs that test taste buds.
Wow. I mean, I can imagine that. Yeah, I was thinking like in the original days when they first did all this, they didn't have that technology. They probably didn't do case studies. They just said, "Hey, that tastes good. You should get into business and make that," and they will. But
Yeah.
then they start adding all the extra additives because the ones that don't work, or they're more preservatives to make it last longer on the shelf to make more money, and just go on and on and on. And
Well, the other problem is, not to interrupt you, is the dyes. Like, I
yeah.
really worry about the dyes, and they really affect children's brains. I
Mm.
had a parent call me the other day, and they want to be a new patient with their 2 young children, and she said that the eyes are all swollen and dark circled. And I said, I'm going to give you a hint before you bring your children here. Start checking how much sugar they're eating. Start being aware of that. But let's flip a little bit to a fun subject about vegetables.
Ah,
I want to tell you all, please, I can't stress it enough, but your gut is like, if we look outside and you like to plant, and you plant a seed and you dig a hole, you cover the seed, you put fertilizer on it, you water it, you nurture it, you want it to grow. Your gut is the same thing. It's called your microbiome, and it needs all those vegetables in order for your gut to do the function that it needs to do, which I won't get into the physiology of it. But how many people are suffering with constipation, diarrhea, or inability to like relieve their bowels and feeling bloated all the time? It's because they're not fertilizing their gut and their microbiome. And guess what? The gut is the second brain. And so if we're dumping garbage into the gut, we're thinking garbage. I had a naturopath, my first naturopath that I went to when I was 18. I still know her. And this sticks with me. And she said to me, if people continue to eat what they eat and take care of themselves the way they take care of themselves, we're going to see more killing, more animosity, and more anger. I'm 55. I'll be 55. And I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
It
So
makes sense.
yeah, so the vegetables like prep our brain so that it can function. The sugar dampens our brain so we can't focus. We get brain fog. And just what Brian said, most people don't eat. I can tell you maybe 1 out of 30 patients I see are eating enough protein. You need protein for your muscle and your amino acids and your building blocks. So if you're not eating a minimum of 1 gram per pound of body weight, you're not eating enough protein for your body and you're starving the muscle, and then your body will eat the muscle for you to, at an extreme, right? At an extreme.
Yeah, totally. Oh, Bob Hildberg has a good question. I'm curious to see what your answer is. It's a really short one, but I love it. How bad is salt?
So, Bob, Himalayan sea salt is what I suggest. I don't not iodized salt. So anything that comes from the earth or Celtic sea salt. It's not that it's bad, but I want to ask you, if you crave salt, you want to be careful because it continue. And if you have a stressful life, craving salt could be related to your adrenal fatigue. So salt is not necessarily bad for you, but you want to know when you're eating it, and you want to eat salt that's from the earth. So like Celtic sea salt, Himalayan sea salt. And if you have a heart problem, the first thing they do is tell you to come off salt, which I get, because if your legs are swelling and you have congestive heart failure, things like that. But really, our body needs salt. It's a sodium potassium pump that we need. So again, if you get your levels checked and you know you're within normal range, but it's not that salt is bad. Again, it's everything in moderation.
Yes. Thank you for that, because that's where I am as well. In fact, I forgot the name of the guy. I think he heads up a nutrition company, but part of his ritual was in the morning, he gets up and pours half a glass of water, puts in some lemon juice, just squirts it in, and then puts in I don't think it was a teaspoon of salt, but a half a teaspoon or something of Himalayan sea. Yeah, pinch. That was it. It was a pinch.
Yeah.
And I started doing that as well in the morning every day, because when we sweat, we lose salt. Salt comes out of our body. And, at night, many of us, not knowing it, sweat. I mean, you wake up and your pillow's wet. Yeah. Okay. He said we use Redmond salt from Utah. I'm not familiar with Redmond salt.
I do know Redmond. That's a good salt. It's a Himalayan salt. Yep.
All right. So Bob, you're on the right track.
You're on the right track. Good job.
I always kid with my wife. I say, salt is my sugar. If I were to have a vice, I want something, I don't want anything sweet. I'd rather it be salty if I had a choice between the two, just for taste. I'm just different. When I was a kid, oh no, sugar, baby. I wanted the sugar. I loved it. Oh yes. I was a sugaraholic when I was a kid, but I was in sports and all that, and it was all good. Yes. Bob says thanks.
You are welcome. My pleasure. I'm glad I can be of assistance, because the more you learn, Bob, the more you get to make those small changes. And that's what gets you healthy. Like the incremental habits, stacking one habit on top of another. When, Brian said, what's a good way to get rid of sugar? Like, just slowly know what is in your nutrition. And if you look at something and you read a label and it has a high amount of sugar in it, then start to wean that. And you're going to notice you focus differently. You feel different.
Yeah. It's amazing just what small changes to our diet, back to what was intended to be eaten, does for one person. And I so love your answer about salt, because it's been given a bad rap in large part, and it's a necessary thing that we need to have, because again, we sweat it out. It's part of I don't know what system that is. I'm not a nutritionist like you, but it seems to be part of what we are.
Yeah.
And the other thing is when you're eating foods, I don't ever add salt to anything as part of the seasoning because they all seem to have plenty. If we give our taste buds a rest for a while, you'll start recognizing the other great flavors, including you'll taste some salt in there. In most things you cook, they just have it naturally.
Like
I've noticed.
celery.
Yeah. And meats seem to have a good amount of salt. Maybe the cows were on those salt licks too long. I don't know. But if you can afford it, I always look for the organic foods. They do cost a little more. The chickens, you'll notice, are about half the size of the ones that were injected with massive steroids that are not good for you. Just be wary. Look, you'll see differences. Chickens are starting to look like turkeys to me in the grocery stores. I'm like, holy moly, that's a chicken.
Yeah. Know where your food is coming from. I love what Brian's saying, because what many people don't know is right away they just say it's too expensive. But you know what I say is, would you rather like spend all your time creating your financial wherewithal, building your, your portfolio in life, and then getting to the time when I'll never retire, but like lighten up and you're doing less and you're traveling more, or whatever your love is. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be sitting in doctor's offices. And that's much more expensive.
Yes.
When people say this is expensive, I don't see it as that. I see it as like my value goes there because I value the body that God gave me. I only have one body. If I don't self-care it, I don't love it, I don't do amazing things, meet amazing people like Brian and do these shows and spread the word. Like, I don't want to be sitting in a doctor's office, or I don't want to be like in, open heart surgery.
And it's so true. I mean, it's like it's like sales 101 is like, well, how is what you've been doing working for you right now then? I mean, it's like, yeah, I can't stand it when someone says it's too expensive when it comes to their health. I mean, we're talking about a difference. Like if it's exorbitant and it's ridiculous, then yeah, be scrupulous of it, scrutinous of it and say there's something wrong with that price schedule. But, typically the more healthy food will cost more, which is so it doesn't make sense to me because they spend more money putting preservatives and steroids and all that stuff than they do just keeping a natural thing. I mean, they go, the preservatives aren't there, so they don't last as long in the shelves. So they have to keep rotating their inventory, which I guess that incurs the extra cost. But it's illogical to me that organic food costs more than all of the injected food that they put out there. It just blows my mind. But yeah, I mean, what is your life worth to you? That's the question. I mean, in general, like, what is your quality of life worth to you? But some may just not know there is a huge difference between the two. And once they learn that and know it and have witnessed other people seeing the different result, then it might finally it might be worth another couple bucks for that chicken leg that is organic versus the one that wasn't.
Yeah, and the organic on the vegetables, like if you are budgeting, then go to ewg.org, the Environmental Working Group. I think it's now 18 or 20. It used to be the Dirty Dozen, but there's so many now. And if you are on a tighter budget, just please make sure you buy those specific foods that are highly sprayed, like grapes and strawberries. Like, you want to make sure those are organic, not sprayed. And the reason why it's a problem for the body is you're putting that pesticide, that toxicity in your body. And quite frankly, we don't live in a very clean, we live in a cleaner country than others, but we've got pollution and we've got EMF radiation, which I won't even get into here. But, we want to keep our body as clean as possible. Get out in nature when you can. Go to the beach or get up in the mountains. Like, take your feet and ground them on the earth. Stop staying inside.
I'm literally standing barefoot on a grounding mat as we speak. I do not kid. And yeah, just put all these things into play. Grounding. There's so many unbelievable things that God gave us that are already at our beck and call, and most of them don't cost a dime. Get out and get some sunshine. Stand barefoot on some good soil that you can be grounded to. Bob has another question. He says, do you recommend juicing celery, organic carrots, and apples and ginger 3 times a week?
So I'm not against juicing. I do have juicing with some cancer patients, but I think I would rather just like blend and eat the whole fruit in a Vitamix, or blend all the carrots and vegetables and ginger and everything all together. When we juice, it's not a bad thing, but we're taking out quality nutrients and we're throwing them away. So that's where my brain goes. I have no problem with, that's a great recipe right there. I have no problem with it. But one of the things I do teach is I teach like fruit separate from vegetables, and fruit like completely separate from meats and things, like either a half an hour before or an hour after, because of the way the acid is in our body. It's called food combining, and it just goes back to the basics. So if you take all of that but take the apple out, then I think you're doing great. However, think about maybe just blending all of it in a Vitamix and just eating less of it at a time. That's my only concern. And that right there, well, the celery will help, but that could spike your blood sugar a little bit
And
if you have a blood sugar problem.
and by Vitamixing versus juicing, you're getting additional fiber as well, right?
Yeah, for the gut. Yeah, because you're
So
taking the fiber out when you juice it.
I used to juice quite a bit, and then I found ones that would grind it instead of juice it, and then it just became such a time suck. I mean, my God. And to buy all the vegetables and go grab, mounds of of produce, and then to cut it up so it'll fit in the juicer, and then the cleaning. Oh, don't get me started on that. After you juice it, it's everywhere, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
And then I saw this thing called Balance of Nature, and I started consuming that. It's like 3 little capsules of fruit and 3 little capsules of vegetables. If you were to open them up and put them on your tongue, they actually taste good. It's like they're not processed or anything. They're anyway. Well, that's my go-to now because it doesn't take any time and there's no mess to clean up.
Yeah, Juice Plus is another one that people love.
What's it called?
Juice Plus.
Okay.
That's another one that people love. That the whole story behind that was his father had cancer. Father had cancer, the founder, and they juiced. If you have a diagnosis and you can't digest, then I step to the juicing. So it kind of all depends. But anyway, Juice Plus is another one as well, where there's a vegetable pill and a fruit pill, depending if the bottle's green and then the bottle's red.
Yeah.
Sometimes if people can't get it in or they travel a lot, that's an option. But I just teach people to eat their foods if they can. But there are times when we're traveling,
Yeah. This is fun. I'm having a good time. We only have 7 minutes left. That is not
gone by so fast.
I'm telling you. And just talking to you right before we came on, and we talked some eons ago before that, but I knew immediately this was going to be a fun show because you're like this light. And the one thing I love about you, there's many, but is I can tell you're a product of the product. You're happy, you're go-lucky, you're easygoing, stress-free, compared to a lot of other people. And that's because you're taking care of yourself. You're practicing what you preach. And, there's a saying that I got from a friend of mine who said, you have full permission to use this because it was his saying. He said, the mind and body are a team. More importantly, the mind and body are your team. So if you're letting one of your team members down, the team as a whole is being let down. So body is very important. You talked briefly, you said something about relationships, how important those are. So that made me think, well, what about just mindset in general, combined with healthy nutrition and exercise? What is your take on the mindset part of the equation when it comes to overall health?
Yeah, I call that leading our life, right? And how we speak to our body, and our ego is always going to want to keep us comfortable, right? But like when we get out and like Michael Strassner says, get out on the skinny branches. He wrote the book Skinny Branches, and really stretch ourselves. Like our mind is such a powerful tool, and I tell patients all the time, your body believes every word it says. And so if you're going to not speak positive, have positive affirmations, I do gratitude every morning. I do grateful. I meditate, I pray, I'm thankful to have the body I have. Trust me, I wasn't always there. So you're just looking at a product of like 30 years of just happy that I'm not laying in bed depressed anymore.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't a life, So sometimes it has to get so bad. But for me, it's like, okay, now I knew why I was going to be who I was going to be. And I had to work on the mind as well because it all goes hand in hand. You think what you are, and if you start to think and you start to, what is it? Mel Robbins does the high five in the mirror, and all of these everybody does all these small techniques. But I love the question of mindset. Treat your body like you treat your business. And then when I learned the name of Brian's show was Mind Body Business, it's true. But you also want to bring your mind on board. But how many people, and I work around the blood type diet, but how many people like push and they push and they push and their body's like, hey, like Brian, like you need to slow down. And you're like, no, but I have all these things to do. And your body's screaming at you, and you're like, I'll take care of you when I'm done.
Yeah.
See how powerful the mind is.
Oh, yeah.
And your body's screaming at you, and you're like, but I gotta lift this like 200-pound press, or I've gotta finish this like show. So your mind is so powerful. And the more positive affirmations you do it and you connect to it and how you lead your life, there's measures in everything that you do. And if you keep doing the same patterns over and over again, there's a message for you get to create change there, especially if it's not allowing you to be your best self.
Yeah, the cool thing is we are in control and we have choices. It's all about us. It has nothing to do with anyone else, what they did to us, no external factors. We have everything we need within ourselves. And the only reason we are where we are is because of ourselves, not
That's
someone
right.
else. And, that I love this because we are inherently our own worst enemy, each of us. We give ourselves the worst self-talk. As a certified personal trainer, I would, as a super easy example, is I'd say, okay, let's go and let's do 10 push-ups. And they would do, say, 6 maybe. And they would get up and I would see this incredibly dejected look over their face. I said, what's going on? Oh, I failed. I said, what do you mean you failed? Well, you told me to do 10. I could only do 6. I said, stop right there. I want you to put your arm up, turn your hand backwards, put it around your back and pat yourself. I said, instead of kicking yourself in the butt for the reps you didn't do, give yourself a pat on the back for those that you did do. You did not fail. You put in everything you had. You put in the effort. Guess what? It's not about the outcome that you got all 10 done. It's about the outcome that you put in all the effort, and you're going to improve over time. It's just going to take time. Don't sweat the numbers and give yourself a freaking break. I'm telling this to everybody that's listening right now. Give yourself a break because you deserve it. Start talking to yourself more positively, saying, good job. Give yourself credit for the time and effort and everything you're pouring into your life. We're all busy and we're all kicking ourselves in the butt because we didn't hit that goal, that elusive goal we set for ourselves. But guess what? You're getting closer to it. So give yourself pats on the back every step of the way. That's my second soapbox moment.
We always look back on like what we didn't do, but how many people I had to train myself to do that, because just like me, it was like I would look at like I had this list or I had this value. Now it's just like I get up, I receive, I give, I love, I do the best I can. And again, it wasn't always like that. But stop beating yourself up with comments that aren't going to get you ahead. Just be like, I did the best I could. It was a beautiful day. I had a little bit of missteps, but change. You're never the same person the next day when you wake up. Do you guys realize that? Like everything you learned today made you a different person than you were at 9 o'clock this morning.
That's pretty powerful. Well, Dr. Donahue, I want to give you a brief moment. I know we're right at the end of it, but hey, it's not a studio, so I don't have to pay for studio time. We can go over a little bit if you're okay with it. I know it's later there, but all I'd like to do is give you an opportunity to give more in depth about what you do, who your target market is, who are the people you help. And I'm going to just basically pull up your website And as I do that, you can just give a brief overview of what it is you do for people, how they can get a hold of you to take care of what it is they need taken care of. And I'll just let you take it away. How's that sound?
Yeah, no, I love that. So I work with leaders and high performers and creating whole health treatment plans so that they can learn to be their absolute best self. And so what I do is I take you where you're at and I move you forward on your journey of healing. So everybody is in a different place. I look at your genetics, I look at your nutrition, I look at your basic labs. And after that evaluation, I create a customized treatment plan for you, albeit homeopathy, herbs, natural medicine, nutrition, mindset, all the pillars of health, spirituality. And I want to teach you, that's funny, to take control of your health. And it's right there coming up. You get to create your health. And I do it in several different ways, but I just love working with the entrepreneur and the leader because that's me. Like we teach the future version of ourselves, right? And so there's all sorts of ways to go about working with me. And I just love what I do. Like my goal is to take you from A and to slowly get you to where you need to be, because I know you're going to be like a little bit like anxious along the way because I'm taking you out of your comfort zone. I'm teaching you things that you're not doing. And I really want you to have your peak performance. And if there's imbalances in your body, my goal is to get to the root cause of where is that coming from? Like seriously, and how can we create whole health together? So that's really my love. That's really where I want to go. And at the end of the day, when I send patients on their way, I miss them, but I've done my job. I don't, you can come and visit me or whatever, but I want your health report card to only go up.
Yeah. So it's somebody you want to treat, but never see again. But even though you love them and you would like to see them again, but not for the reasons they came to you to begin with. So makes total sense. And that is her website. You see it on the screen. It's simplehealthnh.com. Simple Health NH, and the NH stands for New Hampshire, nh.com. And so you want to go there. There's a discovery call. There's different things you can do there. You also had a couple of gifts. I wanted to point those out as well. Talking one about sleep, I believe.
Yeah. So we didn't talk much about sleep tonight because I got on my nutrition soapbox, but I want to tell you seriously, please do not continue to think 3 hours of sleep is enough because it's not. Sleep is another foundation to natural wellness and healing, because when you sleep, you heal. So what I've created here is a sleep training freebie where you can go in, and it's techniques and ways that I work with my patients. I created this for you so that you can learn little tips and tricks on how to sleep. So maybe it's the temperature of your bedroom. Maybe it's taking the TV out of your bedroom. Maybe it's doing like I do, like at 10 p.m. Thank God this will be over before 10 because my internet shuts off so that I don't have radiation when I sleep at night. So keeping the cell phone away from your bed. So there's little tips and tricks in here that I put together so that you can learn how to have a healthier night's sleep. Don't disregard your sleep.
And it costs $200 and what now? Dollars?
It is free.
Free.
Don't you love free?
Yes, we all love free. So we have a nice short link for everyone to go to for that. It's ryp.im/sleep, all lowercase, ryp.im/sleep. And that will take you straight to her website once again. And then you can see it on the screen for those of you watching. You'll see the visual that you're seeing on the screen. That way, you're in the right place with the young lady sleeping on a clock. That's a great image. And just enter your information. And yeah, those are all great tips too. I've heard about the phones and the TV. Definitely the electronics are a bad deterrent to sleep. So that's a good reminder to me, because I got my phone as my alarm clock and it's near me. I need to figure that one out. So I'll go download this list and find out the right alarm clock to use. And then there was one more thing. So before we do that, I did want to let everyone know that I promised that they would win or they could enter to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort,
Nice.
compliments of Reach Your Peak LLC. And I cannot wait to see who wins that, because what we're going to do when we come back on the backside of that, which is very, very quick, I'm just going to give you the URL to enter to win, is we're going to ask Dr. Holly Donahue one final, incredibly profound question to close out the show. You do not want to miss that. In the interim, to enter to win, and be sure to write this down. Do not go there now. We will monitor after the show is over. We will monitor the entries, and we'll get a randomly selected winner. To enter to win, we'll put it up on the screen for you right now. You want to go to ryp.im/vacation, ryp.im/vacation, all lowercase. Write that down and then enter to win right after the conclusion of our show. And speaking of our show, we're going to get back to Dr. Donahue. She's the star of this show, just so you know. And we're going to also give her, she wanted to also give you another this is a gift in my mind, and I want her to have the ability to also give you this gift. So I'm going to pull that up on the website view, and you'll see what I mean instantly. So yes, please, Dr. Donahue, let people know about this phenomenal challenge that you have going forward.
I have a challenge starting on Monday, and please don't miss it, because I want to support you in transforming your sugar addiction. Sugar is a real drug, like we said, and it's acceptable drug. And my goal is to walk you. We talked about a few simple steps, but this is going to be a challenge that you're going to walk with me through 6 days. I'm going to teach you how to meal prep. I'm going to teach you how to look at proteins and fats. I'm going to talk to you about markers that you should ask your doctor. It's just going to be amazing. And this is the first time I've ever done it. I woke up like a month ago and I'm like, it's time to do a sugar detox with people, because the truth is 83 million people in America have diabetes and pre-diabetes. That's 1 in 3 adults. Holy cow. And all of our diagnoses, I can say this, somebody will probably debunk me, but start with inflammation. And sugar is inflammation, yes. And cancer is inflammation, and your joint pain is most likely inflammation. So please show up. It's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. We are going to be live on YouTube and Facebook, but please join us at the sugardetoxchallenge.com. I'm just so ecstatic to run it, and I just can't wait to teach you to get sugar out of your diet so you don't end up a statistic.
I love it, and I love what you do. So that's sugardetoxchallenge.com. And this one is also $200 and how many dollars to be a part of?
This one is free unless you want to join my VIP, where you'll have extra time with me with handouts and things, which is $97, which is a steal. Super steal.
Something I learned a long time ago when I was in the seminar industry, learning the seminar industry because of my mentor. He said this, that anytime a speaker offered a VIP like seating or, you get special treatment, he always spent the extra money because it always came back with greater value. And you were able to spend more time with the expert that you came to go see. And so I took that to heart, and I've done the same thing since. And he was absolutely right. And it's really not about, what do you think it's going to be worth? You will come out of it when you're done. I mean, look at Dr. Donahue. You're going to have more time to spend with her. You're going to get more from her, and that can only be good. And $97 is a drop in the bucket. You probably spend more on the sugary stuff you're eating right now. I hope you're not eating it right now. But be sure to at least go to sugardetoxchallenge.com and register, and then show up. It's not going to do you any good unless you show up. And if you don't, you might get hangry, like she shows on her website, just by not showing up. So you don't want to do that. So, all right. Fantastic. All right. Well, we're at that point where it's time.
It went so fast. I'm having so much fun. Like, that's what happens when you love what you do.
Yeah, I always say I love what I get to do. It's a phenomenal thing. And yeah, meeting people like you is a big part of that for me, for sure. I know There's a saying, you can't pick your family and you can only pick your friends. Well, too bad, Dr. Donahue, because now I consider you family. You're stuck. You're
Oh,
stuck. You're stuck.
oh, it's been so
Inseparable now. Thank you, Aaron. Daniel Aaron, my buddy, for connecting us and getting Dr. Donahue on the show. Appreciate you, buddy. And now we are at that point of that one special, unbelievably beautiful question. Yes. And so I love to ask this question at the end, and there's many reasons for it, but I used to do this randomly a little bit. I'd ask it now and then during shows back when I first started. This is like, we're going on year 5 on this show. And I started realizing and recognizing that the answers were so profound. I was like, my God. So I made it the parting question of every show. And with your permission later, Dr. Donahue, I will be reaching out. We want to make a compilation book with everyone's answers. And so you'll be part of that as a co-author down the road. We got enough probably for 2 or 3 books by now. It's going to be pretty awesome. But
awesome.
Yeah, because the cool thing about this is there is no such thing as a wrong answer. It does not exist. It doesn't. And the exact opposite is the truth, is the only correct answer is yours because it's your answer. And it could take you a microsecond or it could take you 30 seconds to come up with an answer. That too doesn't matter. It's not incorrect either way. It's because it's your answer. It's unique to you. So with all that buildup, now the curiosity is just like crushing you. Are you ready?
Bring it on, my friend. Bring it on.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll do that at the end. We haven't had a single bomb drop, but I've just been so enthralled. I didn't want to. All right, we'll do that. All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Holly Donahue, how do you define success?
Health. Really, like having a healthy body and loving yourself and connecting to who you are and who you get to be every single day, and just knowing what a brilliant value you are as an individual that I get to bring to everybody. That's what I define success. Success is within you. It's your heart, it's your energy, and it's who you are and who you get to be in this world every single day. And I thank God for bringing us all together in like this huge success environment. We're all successful.
And you know we got to end it with a little drop here. Here we go. Dr. Holly Donahue, dropping smart bombs of wisdom, bombs of knowledge. You have been an absolute joy to interview here tonight. I appreciate you so much. You are just a phenomenal person. You care about people. That's one of the reasons I'm so glad Daniel connected us. And we need more people like you on this planet that are out there doing good and helping and serving others. And, you know, everyone go to her website. It is simplehealthnh.com. You saw the other great giveaways as well. Rewind the show. It's ryp.im/sleep. The last one was sugardetoxchallenge.com. So great resources. I hope you wrote them all down. And now it will be time for you to visit them the moment we close out of this show. Any last parting words of wisdom to take us home, Dr. Donahue?
Yeah, like just what I said, really just love yourself and know that you can be healthy and you can heal. If you are struggling with a diagnosis and a disease, like there are answers for you, but you get to search. And please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If I'm not in your area or we don't resonate, I have all this ability to help support you, because the truth is, without your health, you're going to struggle like I did when I was 18. And I don't want to see people struggling. I want to see you to be able to, this is my last words, live your best life at your absolute peak performance of who God put you on this earth to be.
That is the way to end it, ladies and gentlemen. I almost did it. Dr. Holly Donahue. Gosh. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. And just everyone watching and listening, I just want to part with saying, please do at least these 2 things. Number 1, continue to serve people and crush it in life. And number 2, above all else, please be blessed. That is it for this episode, on behalf of the amazing Dr. Holly Donahue. I am your host, Brian Kelly of the Mind Body Business Show. Until next time, we will meet again. Take care, everyone, for now. And like I said earlier, go ahead and be blessed. Goodbye for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name is Brian Kelly.